Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. I wanted to show you guys today just one using my view template the quick and easy way. So before I did a video on the view template and it was using, you cloned it from GitHub. But now I created a tool that makes it even easier. All you have to do is do npx merced spin up view, because it's a template you're using, and just put the name of your project. So we'll say project 5. And see, that creates the project 5 folder here. So then we can just cd into that folder. And then we just do an npm I to install all the dependencies. So again, I did that from the project 5 folder. And then you're up to the races. Okay, so if we want to just run the dev server just to see what the base template looks like, just type in npm run serve. That'll start the Vue development server. Okay, so that's that. So now we just open it up in the browser. So let me just go grab another browser window. Okay, and I think it was that localhost 8080. So localhost 8080. And this is basically what the template looks like. So this template is just a basic Vue template. It has router installed, so that way you can have like links to different pages. I'm using the Buefy component library, which is loaded up, so that's why you see this nice navigation bar in this footer. Okay, so that's all already in there. Okay, and then this is like a little pop-up modal just to show you what you guys can do with the components. So if you want to learn more about Buefy and see what components they have available to you, you just go to buefy.org. What Buefy is just Bulma for Vue. That's literally what it is. But you can go to the documentation, and there's all sorts of cool stuff you can use, like there's sliders. And you just copy the code from there. Okay. But I'll let you guys play with that later. But yeah, so basically, again, the way this template works is literally everything you have to do is in this source folder. So think of your app.vue as sort of your central command. That's where everything is. Okay, yeah, whatever. Cool. So right now, this is your main template. So this is what we're seeing on the front page. So we're seeing this div that's called app. That's just our wrapper for this whole component. Inside there, here's another div called nav, and that's where that header component is. So that navigation bar is inside that header component, which would be inside our components folder. So there you'll find the header component. So if you wanted to change that navigation bar, this is where you would do it. Okay. And there's also the footer there. And there's that little button that collapses. And just some other components if you want to like copy and paste them. Okay. This folder here is the router. Okay. If you want to create like separate pages in your website. So for example, notice how when I click on home, it sees a different page than if I click this. So these are two different pages. The way that works is that you'll create a component in this views folder. So you have two here, you can just copy and paste them or edit the ones that are already there. So this is the main page that shows up when you first load up the page. This is another page. But you can create as many pages as you want in this folder, and then you're going to load them up in router. So in router, you'll import your pages, and then you'll add another entry to this array that just details the next route. So you see how it's like /page2/ This is front-end routing. Okay, so this has nothing to do with your server on the back end. Your server has no idea about these front-end routes. Essentially, your front end is just kind of pretending to route. Okay, you're really still on the same page. It's just that it changes the URL bar, and based on the change in the URL bar, it'll change what components it's showing. So look at the URL bar over here. Okay. So when you do that, okay, that works. Okay, but again, it's not actually routing. There's no server request happening. Okay, it's just pretending. Okay, but you can create as many routes as you want here. And then you can link to those routes. You can link to those pages by using a link tag. So in my header, you can see how these link tags work. So you see here router link home. So anywhere you want to link to a router link, you would just use this syntax right here. And then it would take a look at your router, find the route that matches this string, and then render that component. That component's always going to render here where it says router view. That's what this router view does. It says, hey, if a component changes because the route changes, that component shows up here. So essentially the header component's on top, whatever page you're on is in the middle, and then the footer's on the bottom. And again, you can change this however you want, but that's essentially what's going on here. And again, the way these work is that instead of doing everything in like one view instance, you have components. And each component is made up of a template. That's the HTML for that component. A script, this is where you do all your JavaScript. So this is really just your view instance right here. Okay, and then your style tag. The only thing to keep in mind with components in Vue is that unlike just a pure instance, the data object isn't an object. It's a function that returns an object. So just make sure that if you use data, so if I want to add data to this component, I'd have to do this function return and then list all my data in there. It's just the way it is. That's the only real quirk. Otherwise, everything works the same. As far as the details of how all this works, I recommend going to devnursery.com. Go looking up my Vue tutorials. And kind of this particular type of Vue setup are covered. Okay, so towards the beginning right here. Starting with this one video 1, 2, 3, 4, which is actually video 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that'll walk you through how to use the Buefy component library, how to use the router, how to use static component and props. Okay, and then there's some other fun stuff to watch here as well. Okay, and if you scroll to the bottom, there's more stuff. But yeah, if you watch those videos, that should give you a good idea how this works. My name is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. Have a great day and enjoy.